Hello, hello. Sorry about that. Had some technical difficulties there, so give me just one moment and we will get started here again. This is only my second week streaming, so still getting used to it here, people. Okay, so let me just share this in our Discord real quick. And then we'll start over again because that was a really nice review. So let's go ahead and just pull back up. Also, our chat wasn't working in YouTube for some reason, so just some early day jitters here, but no worries at all. And all right. Pop that back into our Discord. Okay, so this is the Killer Whale Ventures live stream. We are building the largest and most successful algorithmic trading community on the internet. We are giving away all of our TradingView strategies and indicators completely for free. So all the things that we talk about, from our long-term accumulation to any of the things you see on the charts that I'm sharing, all of that on the TradingView side is getting given away completely for free. All you have to do is drop your TradingView username into our Discord support and subscribe to this channel. Once you do that, I will make sure that you have complete access to all of our cutting edge technology, and you will be grandfathered in when we stop doing this promotion. So yeah, happy to have you on board. Let's go ahead and get started here again. So Bitcoin. What I was talking about, I was talking to myself because I had my mic muted that first stream. But yeah, so Bitcoin is currently, the moving averages are pointing to the downside. And what I was talking about is our volatility bots. So all of our volatility and short-term and scalping type of bots get turned off when this 10 moving average crosses below the 20 moving average. So when the yellow line goes below the white line, we turn off our volatility-based algorithms. And what you can see here is we basically sold back to cash around that $109,000, $110,000 level, and ever since then been sitting in cash on our volatility-based bots. However, on our accumulation bots, you can see all of these blue triangles is the accumulation that's been going on from our long-term algorithm, right? So we are fully in bullish control at the moment. However, we do not want to see Bitcoin go below about 80,000 to 81,000 with a solid candle close below our bullish control zone, which we've been in our bullish control zone since the beginning of 2023. If I zoom back out over to here, you can see January 2023 is when we went into bullish control. That was back around $22,000 per Bitcoin. And ever since then, we have been firmly in bullish control. Now, areas where we've seen heavy appreciation is when we have our moving averages flip to the upside. Most recently, that was in April 2025, and we did see a nice pump in the market through this area. Bitcoin is our market oscillator. What that means is if Bitcoin is going up, the rest of the market is generally going up. If Bitcoin is going down, the rest of the market is generally going down. And a nice visual representation of that is simply looking at these moving averages, the 10 being above the 20. We saw bullish action. The 10 crossed below the 20. We saw bearish action. The 10 went above the 20. We saw bullish action. You get the idea. So we have a bit of a confliction here because at the moment, the moving averages are pointing down. But the reason I'm bringing all this up is our 10 is starting to flatten here, and I do believe we are going to have that bullish cross. If we do see any sort of movement to the upside, we're going to start seeing these bands come closer together. And then when they do turn to the upside eventually, all of our volatility bots will be back on, and a lot of market participants and a lot of market players are watching this exact same metric saying, okay, I'm going to get ready to be bullish again when these start pointing to the upside again. So as long as we can stay above 81,000, 80,000, bullish until proven otherwise. But that's the analysis on long term for Bitcoin. Shorter term on Bitcoin, we're looking at this bear pull bear flag, which you can see target number one Okay, so we are actually getting one of our futures trades right now. So let me just go ahead and go over to our futures trade. Yep, here we go. Let me go ahead and just log in here on my let me go ahead and log in to Trade of 8. There we go. And let's go back over to NQ. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. So let me go find our 150K account. Yep, right here. Okay, perfect. So this account, I have 3 different versions of this strategy running. The first version of this strategy has been having some misfiring signals. So I don't really have any accounts running on the first version, which is this one right here. Also, this one has seen a lot more significant red days than the second version of the strategy. So I'm primarily focused on version number 2 here. This is a separate algorithm provider. They are Algo Pro. They have really awesome tools in their toolbox, and I use them for a lot of our day trading, futures trading, that kind of stuff. But basically what I'm looking at here is we've had a really nice run on this strategy. At the moment, we are looking at the last 82 trades, about 64% profitable. Now, we did have all the way up to 8 contracts martingale, which did result in a nice play the other day, but I had this account hooked up to the first version of the strategy, which I was telling you has had some misfires. So it's all trial and error with this stuff, but finally getting it tuned in to, be able to send these to futures accounts with some reasonable degree of certainty that it's going to actually work. And that noise that you heard, that Martian gun, that's kind of my indication of, hey, we have a trade going on live on stream. So, yep, let me go ahead and I do have a guest coming on today, potentially. So let me see if he's got the link and everything to come and join me today. Let me just ping him here real quick. And then I think I could bring him on while we're doing this trade live. So yeah, yesterday we did have an unsuccessful trade, which brought us back down to about break even on this account. That's okay. We're still testing this stuff out, right? So now we have a second trade, which is martingaled. So we had a losing trade with 1 contract. Now we've martingaled to 2 contracts. So these trades go for about 9 minutes. And yeah, let me try and pull on my partner here and see if we can get him on and we can talk about this stuff all together. Let me pull him in here. Here we go. Are you there, Ethan?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Let me pull you up to the foreground here and see if we can... Yep, there we go. Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, so I was just talking a bit about how I've been working on this Algo Pro algorithm for day trading futures. So I have a 150K TRADINGVIEW account running here at the moment, and I was kind of just talking about the logic behind this strategy, which is a martingale type of strategy. So yesterday we had a losing trade with 1 contract, and today we have a double up, right? So it's using 2 contracts of NQ. So yeah, I was just talking about that because, the metrics for the trade came in as we were live on stream here. So how are you today?
Doing well, thank you. So what's our profit target for that guy, that strategy right there?
This strategy has built into the strategy is a profit target and a loss limit of, let me pull it up here, 500 each, I'm pretty sure. So if it has a trade over 500, it will stop trading for the day. If it has a trade negative 500, it'll stop trading for the day. But let me just pull it up here. Yeah, so if we have a trade that's over $500, it'll stop for the day. If we have a trade that's under 500, a loss of $500, it'll stop trading for the day. But I also have this max wins halt on. So if it has one winning trade in the day, it'll also stop trading, right? And then I have a max losses of 5. So pretty much we're trying to stick within this minus 500 plus 500. But really, if we have one winning trade in the day, it's going to stop trading for the rest of the duration of that day.
In and out, love it.
Yep, and just been doing a lot of research the last few months of how people are most successful in the future space, and it seems like taking 1, maybe 3 trades in a day is like the bread and butter for the future stuff. So yeah, and I've been finding success with that myself, not only with this strategy, but with several other strategies that I've been talking about on the streams. So yeah, very cool stuff. What have you been looking at as of late through this holiday season? Is there any particular assets that you are looking at in an options outlook here?
Honestly, the holidays have been really busy. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, but all is well. But I am kind of taking a look around here, just kind of seeing. We usually have a pretty good Santa rally every year, and we kind of didn't see that this year, which was interesting enough. I mean, we just saw a nice dip beforehand, but kind of like you were touching on with Bitcoin, things are bullish until they aren't, and I mean, we're still bullish around the market.
Yeah, absolutely. I could actually pull up while we're kind of waiting for this trade to come to fruition. So this trade has another 2 minutes on it. So if it finishes positive after 2 minutes, it'll pretty much just exit the trade. So again, if it's a winning trade, it'll just stop trading for the day. It doesn't matter if it made $10 in profit or $1,000 in profit. If it has a winning trade, it stops for the day. So we'll have to see what that looks like in like 2 minutes here. But yeah, I have a bunch of stuff breaking out, right? We were talking about that Tesla breakout over the last like couple of weeks. And then we had a nice breakout on Amazon here. So we got a couple of the big boys breaking out. Nvidia's been breaking out, right? Which we are entered into trades on both Amazon and Nvidia and on Microsoft here, all to the upside. So yeah, I got those, and then I could just pull up the S&P 500 here, and which we saw a descending broadening formation with a breakout and then a retest of the descending trend line, and we've pretty much been bouncing for the last like 6 or 7 days in a row here. What's your outlook on SPY here?
Yeah, so looking at SPY on the daily, we got so on, it looks on Wednesday, right? Christmas Eve, kind of lining up the Santa rally. We were able to get that close above all-time high. Now, I'm not too convinced of it, just because it was Christmas Eve and the volume associated with that was pretty low. And you can kind of see that in the sense that we pretty much rejected that. And we are falling back down.
I will say the technical analysis play that I'm in on this breakout hit target number 1 on that move that you're talking about there that brought us to new all-time high. So I've taken 50% of my TA play off the table here, and that target number 1 has a risk to reward of 1.7 to 1. So I'm in profit no matter what, even if we come back down to stop loss here. So I'm pretty happy about that most recent move that we had, because that hit my target number 1. Okay.
Yeah, you can see that's almost a picture perfect break and retest of that descending broadening channel, right? It took a few, is this the daily we're looking at?
Yeah, here, let me pop back over. Yeah, so our trade looks like it ended up finishing negative. So this one will take another trade at some point today. So I'll just keep an eye out for our Martian gun sound, and we'll pop back over to our futures trade if it happens while we're live on stream. But let me go back over to SPY here. Yep, I got SPY pulled up again.
Perfect. So yeah, I mean, it did take, you know, a few weeks to get that, well, not a few weeks, yeah, almost two full trading weeks to get the retest of that breakout of the descending broadening channel. But it was pretty much textbook picture perfect. We got our breakout and it led to a rocket of a new all-time high, right? So now looking at it, I mean, RSI is high, but not super high. We're sitting at like 57-ish on the daily.
Yep, 57 at the
And
moment.
MACD's kind of right in the middle of the road as well. It looks like buying pressure is starting to wane a little bit today. But honestly, I'm looking for SPY to consolidate is probably what's going to happen here would be my assumption. Now, how broad of a consolidation that's going to be is going to kind of be the question, right? But I'm staying bullish on SPY as long as we can hold like 674, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can come down and kind of retest 683, 679, and even come back down to 674. But as long as we can kind of hold that 674 level, maybe even all the way down to like 672-ish, I believe we could see just some healthy consolidation here for another continued move north, right?
So that's actually the exact entry point that I have here was about 675. So that's like my entry on the most recent technical analysis play that I'm in at the moment. So yeah, that would make sense.
Hoping you don't get wicked out on a retest.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I've already taken 50% off at target number 1 with a 1.7 to 1 risk to reward. So either way, I'll make money on this play. But yeah, if we can come and bounce off that 175, or I'm sorry, 675 level again, I'd be totally happy with that.
Yeah, because I mean, even that 675-ish, that would be another higher low, right? We kind of saw a double bottom-ish from October, and then November, we dipped all the way back down to that 652 level. And then we kind of made a higher low since then up at 673, but we still can come back down to that 680, 675 level to continue a healthy move north here.
Now I'm noticing we are seeing some divergence on both the RSI and the MACD, bearish divergence, I believe. So that is interesting. Yeah, we could definitely see some more consolidative movement from, because the MACD is making lower highs and the price action's making higher highs, and then also with the RSI is making lower highs and the price action's making higher highs. So that does give us some, conviction that we might see a bit more consolidation, like you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's really not bearish until we kind of lose that 674 level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing I
Amazon is on a great move right now from its breakout that we covered.
Yep, absolutely. Had a really nice daily candle close across the descending trend line. That gave us our conviction for an entry. And I have 4 targets on Amazon at the moment. First target being at that 240 level. What do you think about this 240 level that I have measured for my first target?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. So let me quickly measure out targets. And these are measured a little bit differently than how you measure yours, Dylan. But so I have targets on Amazon at 239, right? 240, pretty much right where you have. Target number 2 would be like 244, and then target 3 would be around 250.
Yeah, I have my target number 1 at 240, target number 2 at 249, target number 3 at 260, which would put us at a new all-time high. And then above that, target number 4, 273. So I have target number 4 measured all the way out until April. So, that it could even go longer than that to get to target number 4 the way I have it measured here as well.
Yeah. Now, what you want to be careful of is what's a little flashing a little bit here. Like if you look at the weekly, Amazon really wants to avoid a potential head and shoulders here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, right? I could see that on the weekly. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a little interesting. Now, it's not the cleanest head and shoulders, but it is there, right? It's something that bulls definitely need to be aware of, right? That 219 area is going to be pretty heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would if it did play out to be a head and shoulders like that, that might give us target number 1, but definitely wouldn't get up to my target number 2, which is at like 249.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's definitely could see that on the weekly here now that we've zoomed out a little bit.
Yeah, I just kind of spotted that. I was like, ooh.
Very interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that drawn here so that we can keep talking about it throughout other streams through the course of the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, now you can kind of see there on the weekly, right? Amazon broke it out of this descending broadening channel, right? So there's also a very real possibility that we simply get a retest of this breakout and a rocket shift to your targets, right? We just need to be aware of both sides of the coin when you're trading.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how did your options plays play out? Because I know you took this one a couple weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. So I was just a little early. It did pay. It just didn't pay me as well as I had kind of hoped. Because I got in around 226, and it was the dip down to kind of 221 that just hurt me a little bit. Looking back, I should have probably taken a little bit more contracts down there. But, you know, hindsight is 2020, and we'll do it better next time. But I was able to come out with a little bit of green on that play, which was nice. I did get out pretty much on this breakout a couple days ago, right around that 232 level.
Love it. Love it. So the one thing I had in the thumbnail today was gold. So I'm going to rewind a little bit here and go back over to gold. Gold had a absolutely amazing breakout move from this symmetrical triangle bull flag kind of looking thing, and then achieved target number 1. So I took 50% of my trade that I was in on this PAX G play. And for everybody who doesn't know, PAX G is a cryptocurrency that follows the price of gold. So typically when I do a lot of my accumulation and technical analysis plays, I'll be doing it in a crypto exchange using PAX G. So we had a breakout here, achieved target number 1, so took 50% of the trade off the table. We were about half to 3/4 the way to target number 2, which is at 47.35. And then today, over the last 24 hours or so, we got rejected from 4,578 all the way back down to 4,300, where we're at right now, about 4,350. So, even though we're getting rejected here, if we do come back down to stop loss, because I took 50% of this trade off the table already, we're going to make money on this play no matter what, because target number 1 is a risk to reward of 2.35 to 1. So it was funny, yesterday my thumbnail said gold pumping, and then all I did was change the P to a D, and now it's gold dumping. So, lots of things can change in a single day, but overall, gold couldn't just keep going up and up and up like it was forever, right? It had to have some sort of corrective move, and today we saw a pretty big rejection, several percentage rejection, I do believe. Yeah, about a 5% rejection on gold, which is pretty big. Gold usually doesn't get rejected that hard, but it does. I mean, it has recently because it's put in multiple new highs. So just very interesting, I thought, is going from pumping to dumping in a single day. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that one real quick because that was the mention in the thumbnail of the video. Let's go back over to the big boys here. Let's talk about Meta, because Meta is doing something interesting at the moment.
I haven't looked at Meta.
So if you're looking at Meta on the daily, the way I have this drawn out at the moment is there's a larger descending broadening structure, but within the descending broadening structure on the daily, it looks like there's a bit of a cup and handle, right? It's more of like a V cup than like a rounding bottom. But what I had put on here is if we break above this 672 level, that would have given me enough conviction to like take a long style of trade on this cup and handle from Meta. But then today it broke to the downside out of the handle. So I think it's kind of invalidated at the moment. And I'm just going to have to wait for the larger structure to form. But I wanted to maybe get your eyes on it and just see what are your thoughts about, potentially sizing this up as a cup and handle. And then the fact that we might have broken out to the downside of the handle without any sort of upside break.
Yeah, so we did break out to the downside. It looks like our saving grace was our 50 EMA on the daily.
Let's take a look here. 50.
So you can kind of pull that up and see. Look at that crazy wick that had.
Yeah, that candle was like a shooting star candle. We were talking about this last week. It's like a really odd spot for a shooting star candle, or like an inverted hammer kind of candle,
Sure.
Just a really crazy pump and then dump within the same day.
I hide my daughter from the stream, but I'll still talk to you.
Yeah. Oh, here I can move you. We'll just have your voice on stream.
You might hear some commentary with me.
That's okay. There we go. Yep. So we can still hear you. You're good.
Do you have the 50 pulled up on Meta?
I do. Let me make it like white or something. I got everything yellow, but here we go. There we go. So yeah, the 50 is this white line that we have here, and then this is the 200, this purple one. So we did have a 50-200 cross to the downside just recently.
Yes, we did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was pretty much sizing this thing up to like if we could break out of this, it's a really ugly looking cup and handle, but if we were to break out to the upside, I would have made a speculative play on it. But at the moment, I'm just kind of looking at it going, yeah, it's kind of invalidated until we see some sort of other structure, unless there's something that you see that I'm not seeing here. There's a lot of analysts out there that might be seeing something different, but this is just what I'm looking at with my experienced eyes.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's just kind of a wait and see, right? And playing meta from an option standpoint can be tricky, right? Playing meta from an option standpoint is usually reserved for those with quite a bit of capital, because those options can be pretty expensive. So when it comes to meta, I definitely don't like middle of the road plays, right? I like to be very sure of my move and also very low risk on my entry. So if I'm taking an entry, I want my stop to be within $1 or $2, maybe $5 at most of where I'm getting an entry, because those contracts can get ugly in a portfolio pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I have never taken an options trade of any variety on meta. Like, you know me, I'm mostly a spot guy, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of meta at the moment. I was just wondering if you had any other insight, but to me, it's kind of invalidated my potential cup and handle, so I'm not really going to be taking this trade until we see some other type of pattern, right? Until we see some other type of formation that gives me conviction. I have nothing on meta at the moment.
Yeah, like you kind of have it drawn out there. It's both the stop loss on your play. I believe it's like that 631.75 area.
Yeah.
That is where I'd be interested in meta, right? Because that's a pretty solid area of support, both historically, and it gives our RSI even more time to kind of calm down a little bit. And then I also have a pretty low risk stop, right? Like right now we're trading $25 above that. So any options contracts I take up here, if you do see a test down there, they're gonna get wrecked.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Tesla was marching its way towards some targets here and then has had some bearish last couple of days. But honestly, that's okay because we never really saw a retest of our breakout, right? And we also didn't get up to target number 1. So this could actually give me conviction to enter Tesla again with this exact same conviction on this move here.
Yeah, no, I like Tesla, and it actually went ahead and filled the gap that it had on the daily as well.
Yes.
So I actually might be taking a look at Tesla here. Now, I don't exactly like that we just lost the 20 on the daily. It could kind of shape us up for a retest of that 439, 440 area.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to see what Tesla's going to do the rest of the week. If we can get back up above that 20 EMA, which is around 463 on the daily, I would be more comfortable with considering this just a nice retest of the breakout. If we can't get back over that 20 EMA, I do expect a retest of that 436 to 440 area. And at that point, I would definitely be interested in taking a move back north.
Yes, for me, that 436 area is kind of where I have my stop loss at the moment. So what I'm looking for is maybe a secondary entry, kind of where we are now, and like if we can get a bounce off of this descending trend line that we measured for the breakout initially. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking at the moment. Is just I'm very interested in this like 448 to like 455 level kind of for a secondary entry for me anyway on this spot play.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm gonna have to run today, but let's plan on being back on tomorrow with you guys as well.
All right.
I don't think I'll have to play Mr. Mom as much tomorrow, so I should have some more time on here with you guys.
Great. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish up here and we will see everyone again tomorrow. But see you again tomorrow, my friend.
Yes, we'll plan on seeing and chatting with you guys tomorrow.